everybody. Welcome to Spiritual Connection. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I am a transformation coach, I'm an energy healer, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and a spiritual leader. And you know what? I am all about connection. It's really about connecting with each other as well as connecting with our own spiritual natures. So that's one reason I started this show. And tonight we have a special guest, and her name is Beth Leas. Welcome to the show, Beth.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here.
Well, we're really happy to have you. I met Beth recently, and I realized that we have so much in common about what we do and how we think and what's going on. And the other thing I realized is that Beth has way more experience because she's been on the spiritual journey really for over 40 years. Yeah. Hard to believe because you look so young. She was a baby when she started.
I was a baby.
So she does have a lot going on. She's created some things that you'll hear about. But what I also realized is that we're not going to be able to cover it all in one episode because we're only here for half an hour. So I requested that Beth do two episodes of the show, and she graciously agreed to do that. So there will be part 2, and that's going to come up, the following week, and you can see both of them on YouTube. So please stay tuned for part 2 after the one tonight. So again, welcome, Beth. And can you tell us about how you got started on your spiritual journey?
Yeah, I was 15 when I started meditating, and I started meditating as a way to escape some of the darkness in my childhood. I look back now and I see that a lot of the things that happened in my childhood were really blessings in disguise. I didn't necessarily know it at the time. But finding my way to meditation was really helpful in opening up different levels of consciousness and just giving me a way to see things in a different way, And I find today that meditation is really, it's the one tool that I ask my clients and the one thing that I think that people can do to create the most transformation in their lives.
That's interesting because I was just about to ask you, would you suggest that as a tool for anybody?
Everybody, yeah.
And it's very accessible.
Super simple, super easy to do. There are lots of free apps and YouTube videos, and it's great when kids meditate. It's great when families meditate together. It's great for everybody, whether you're doing it for physical reasons or mental reasons, you're wanting to be a better performer, or just doing it for spiritual connection, whatever reasons that you're doing it. There's lots of reasons.
So that was your entry point to your spiritual path.
Yeah.
Then how did it evolve from there?
And then I started doing meditation. Then I did, like in my late teens and early 20s, I was totally a wild child, and put kind of my spiritual thing on the back burner. But I did a program that was similar to EST, which is a personal development program, when I was in my early 20s, which really opened up a lot of doors for me and helped me. And then I did lots of meditation study. And I was working for an entrepreneur. He was doing all the marketing and sales. I was doing all the backup singing, customer service and interfacing with accountants and lawyers and things like that. And I found it incredibly unfulfilling.
Oh, okay.
And I knew that there was something else that I could be doing. So my sister's a massage therapist, and I asked her, what she might suggest. So I'd always felt connected as a young child to something bigger than myself. I feel like that was part of the way that I got through my childhood. Was I was very aware of the angel realm and spiritual guides and things like that from a very young age. And so I felt spiritually connected in a lot of ways from a very young age. So but I also had never done any energy healing or anything like that. And so my sister suggested that I take a Reiki class.
Oh.
And by the end of the Reiki 1 class, I had never had a Reiki session. It was before the internet, so you can like Google things, and I had never read a book about it or anything. But by the end of that Reiki class, I knew that that was what I wanted to do.
That's great. So can you, for our viewers who are not familiar with Reiki, can you just give them a short little overview?
Yeah, well, it's a form of energy healing. I like to say that there are lots of different forms of energy. I mean, there are lots of different forms of energy healing, and I think they can be broken up into two big subgroups. Energy healing that works with the energy that already exists in the body. So that would be like acupuncture, acupressure, reflexology, polarity therapy. Jinshin Jitsu, which is a form of energy healing that I also do. And then Reiki, the other big group is energy healing methods that bring energy into and through the body, which would be like Reiki, integrated energy therapy, breath work, Tai Chi, Qigong. So Reiki is one of the ones that you bring the energy in.
And can you describe how it works as a practitioner?
Oh, that's a good question. It's so experiential, but what it does as a practitioner is it's actually I'm doing nothing. I'm getting out of the way, and it's I'm placing my hands on the person that I'm working on, and they're drawing the energy through me.
Okay.
So I'm just acting as a
You're just a
conduit for the
conduit.
energies. Yeah.
So then describe it from the client's perspective.
Good question. So from the client's perspective, I think it's more. I think everybody has a different experience. Every session is different, so it's hard to describe. But
Good point.
I would say that it's about relaxing and receiving and remembering your connection to spirit, God, source, whatever you call that.
But you literally don't have to do anything as the client.
No, I don't think you really have to do anything as the practitioner either.
All right. Well, maybe we should do a little demonstration here. Maybe next time.
I mean, I see my job as a practitioner is to get out of the way and to do nothing. Now, it can be really challenging to do nothing.
Well, true, but I mean, in my experience, there is some preparation involved in terms of, I mean, most of the preparation you've done before you even get
to
there,
the room, right?
Because it's who you are and what you're about,
Right,
yeah.
which is why I think meditation is one of the best tools for doing energy healing, but also just in general. But
And just calling in the light.
Yeah.
And, so then, what would be a typical outcome or result for the client after a session that you're?
Again, that is such a challenging question.
I
Like
know.
typical what? Like it could be people might feel something, people might not feel something. People who have had chronic back pain forever might be like, oh my God, I don't feel any pain at the end of the session. Sometimes it takes more sessions. I had a woman the other day who came in, and she was referred to me by her brother, and I said, have you ever had energy healing before? She said once, and with Reiki, and I was not that impressed. And I was like, uh-oh.
Okay.
But by the end of the session, she felt a lot better. Her knees felt a lot better, and so.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, the benefits do vary greatly, and I guess that is a tough question. Typical. There's no typical. But what I've heard a lot about is more like a lighter feeling, a much more grounded, just clear. You know, if you're working with energy, that you're trying to clear out blockages and remove barriers. You know, that kind of
absolutely, and people
helps
come
a
to me
lot.
for all sorts. You know, people come for Reiki sessions for all different kinds of reasons. Some of them are physical pain, or they want to increase their healing, like of a broken leg or hip replacement surgery or something like that. But people also come for anxiety, depression, just wanting to feel more connected.
Yeah, you know, and I think it's great just for like regular maintenance.
Absolutely.
You know, like any kind of body work, you know, massage or reflexology is wonderful to do on a regular basis.
Well, yeah, so like reconnecting to yourself, right? Like
Yeah.
just taking care of yourself, some self-care.
Yeah, so I think energy healing falls in that category of
Absolutely.
just preventative, what I call preventative.
Right.
So you're just like a fine-tuned machine. humming
yeah,
along,
it's a good
right?
thing. It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of like house cleaning, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You have to clean your house, and so your energy field gets dirty just from being
Everyday,
alive,
everyday
right?
living.
From the stresses
Everyday
and
living, yeah.
from the environment, things going on in your
Mhm.
environment, from the way you eat, how much you're exercising,
Right.
all of those
Could be
kinds of things.
anything. Yeah.
And people are always like, well, how often should I come? I'm like, I don't know. Do you clean your house regularly? Like,
Yeah,
sometimes you need
yeah.
a deep cleaning to come to me, but if you're cleaning your house on a regular basis, you don't need to come that often.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think it does work that way. Yeah, well, that's great. So, what other modalities are you?
So I do
practicing?
meditation. I teach meditation. I do Reiki and Jinshin Jitsu. People ask me the difference between Reiki and Jinshin Jitsu. And,
Okay, good question.
my response to that is usually that Reiki is like a hot air balloon ride from the spiritual down to the physical.
Okay.
And Jinshin Jitsu works from the physical level up to the
Ah.
spiritual level. That is a broad generalization,
yeah.
but it kind of
makes sense.
because Jinshin Jitsu uses safety energy locks, which are specific points on the body, so there's a little more pressure than with a Reiki session. It's kind of like a GPS kind of. I liken it to like a GPS.
Ah, okay. I'm really not that familiar with it, so this is interesting.
Yeah, but they both work on all levels.
So how do you know which modality is going to work the best for which client?
It's totally intuitive.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the reason most people come to me is for transformation. They're looking for transformation on some level, and
Yeah.
they feel like there are obstacles in front of them, and they're looking to move past the obstacles, and they don't really know necessarily how they're going to do that.
Right.
So sometimes people come to me because they hear somebody has done energy work with me, and they've had good results, so they come for that. But it just depends on what I feel like somebody's open to. Some people are more open to energy work. Some people are more interested in a tarot reading.
Right, that's another
It is.
something you have up your sleeve.
It's another tool I have in my tool belt. And some people have a really negative connotation of tarot because they think about all the movies where the death card and the devil card show up, and I see the tarot as a tool for transformation that's not about seeing the future, but it's more about seizing the future. So the images in the tarot speak to your subconscious in a way that allows things to bubble up to the surface, so you can change the way you look at your life. And when you can change the way you look at your life, you change the direction you're going.
Yeah, that is very true.
And that is super powerful stuff.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, when you change the way you look at something, that something changes.
Exactly. And it's really fun to see how the light bulb goes off over people's heads, like during a reading, because a lot of it is just using the cards as a conversation point, as a focal point for uncovering what's happening for the person in their life.
Yeah. So, is it like an immediate, like you see an immediate shift while this is happening on?
Absolutely. People, it's interesting because the tarot got me also into recognizing the power of our stories, because the cards tell a story. Each of the cards tells a story. So one of the images on a card might be a man, a dark figure, looking at 3 empty cups, and behind him are 2 full cups. Now, some people see that as a real downer card, like it's like, oh, look at all my spilt cups. But some people are like, yeah, but he's got 2 full cups behind him. He can turn around and pick those up and move on. It's the same picture, it's the same event, but people look at that. You can look at that card in 2 different ways.
Yeah, so that tells you a lot about how that person operates, how they think.
Exactly.
What
And
their
also
story is.
What their story is, and also allows them, when I can point out, well, but he's got 2 full cups behind him.
Mm-hmm.
It helps them make that shift in their mind about, oh, well, what is it that I'm not looking at in my life that I have available to me, instead of focusing on the losses.
Right. So what am I not seeing?
Right.
That's right there, in front of me or behind me in this
Right,
case.
exactly.
Huh. So how did you get interested in the tarot?
I started using the tarot as a tool for meditation, just using it as a visual tool for meditation. So I had a deck of cards, and I would pull 1 card every day and just look at it and see how the image spoke to me throughout the day. Kind of like reading your horoscope, or how that creates a lens through which you can look at your day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I used the tarot like that for a couple of years, and then I had the good fortune to have a tarot teacher who, we were in a group, and there were 6 women. We met every month on a Saturday for 6 years, and it was a really powerful way to learn the tarot.
I'll say it's like
It
a
was
real
cool.
immersion.
Yeah,
If you can keep that up.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. So people come to you to learn about it.
Yeah, and then
on their own.
I have a friend who had a retail store in Westport,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked me to come do tarot readings at her retail store. This was probably 15 years ago, and I was like, no, I can't do that. She's like, why? Why can't you read tarot cards at my store? And I said, because I've worked really hard to get medical doctors to refer their patients to me for energy healing, and now I'm going to have tarot reader on my cards. She's like, just have 2 sets of cards. And I realized that it's just a different set of muscles. And I enjoyed that. So when I do energy healing, it's really kind of a meditative state that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read tarot cards, I'm really having a conversation, talking, using, my mind.
Well, it's more interactive.
It's much more interactive. Yeah. And I enjoy both, so I decided to step into that place and do tarot.
Cool.
Yeah.
I can see that
And I
would be
love
a good outlet. It's just like you
And
said.
it's healing work too,
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy that piece of it. It's just meeting people in a different place.
Right. So you have classes that you do as well?
I teach classes. I teach energy healing certification classes. I teach meditation, tarot. I teach a lot of classes.
So whatever you do,
writing classes.
you teach other people.
Yeah, why not? It's
Why
fun. Spread the love, right?
Yeah.
And the story piece of it, I do a retreat and workshop with Vicki Cook called Heart Stories, which was resulted from us meeting each other in the hallway when we were working at TLC Center, and discovering little pieces about each other's story and how big our stories were and how little we talked about them outside of in our lives.
Right.
And the power of the connection of sharing those things with other people. We think that we're all alone in our story, and then we realize when we share them that how connected we are.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I've been doing some other type of work lately, and the growth and the shifts and the really intense awareness are in the sharing.
Right.
Because that's where you make that connection, first of all, and then it comes back to you. And so it's like a little incremental step kind of a growth situation.
It's super powerful. And it's also super powerful to be witnessed by somebody else when you're telling your story.
Yes, without any judgment, without any advice. I mean, I've found that listening is actually, and I mean really listening, is one of the best gifts that we can give anybody and receive.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, that was a great learning experience for me. And, this kind of stuff, it really comes up in our everyday lives, doesn't it?
Totally.
Everything I learned through the coaching for transformation course is like, it's not just about that coaching one person in a client relationship. It's about listening. It's about bringing out the best in people.
Yeah, how fun is that?
Yeah.
To bring out the best in people and support people in doing their healing.
Right. Yeah. So would you say that, is that one of your main goals, your core values is
well, I think
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
You can put words in my mouth. I would say one of my core values is connection and community, for sure. And connection is definitely a big thing for me. And I really enjoy helping people see the best in themselves and put that forward.
Yeah, because as a coach, we learned that everyone is really perfect the way they are.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about perfection that
we're perfect in our
that word, but yeah, exactly, and that there's nothing wrong here.
There's nothing to fix.
There's nothing to fix. It's not about fixing. Yeah. It's so that was so freeing for me to learn that, because I think most of my life I was a fixer. So it's great to just have that freedom, to just say, "You're great. Let's just share." It's really, it makes such a difference.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. I've put that to work a lot in my life, so it's really cool. Yeah.
And I also, I think people are, many people come and they're like, Beth, you're gonna, I need a healing from you, or you're a healer. I'm like, no, I'm not a healer. You're doing the healing. I'm just witnessing it. You're
facilitating it.
I'm holding space for that to happen.
Yeah.
I'm a good holder of space.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can imagine that. That's great.
But people have to do their own healing. Healing happens within, from my perspective.
Yeah, and we have that wherewithal in us to do that. It's just a matter of activating it, right? Yeah, so you facilitate it. Come on, you do something. They wouldn't keep coming back if you weren't doing something. They could do it on their own. I mean, some things, seriously, some techniques, and, if you want to use the term energy healing, you can do for yourself.
You can't? Or
you can.
You
can.
Oh,
you totally
absolutely.
Can.
Totally.
Yeah. You just have to learn
how to do
it. And then do it.
And it's like anything.
It's like everything.
It's like anything, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like meditation, How many people do you know, including moi, who, oh gosh, I don't have time to do that today, right?
What's that adage? You should meditate for 20 minutes every day unless you don't have enough time, and then you should meditate for an hour.
That's a good one.
I love that.
That's a good one, I have to say. Yeah, it's like you get what you need when you practice these.
Yeah, well, tools are only good if you use them, right?
Right, it's like going to the gym.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's on your plate right now? What are you working on? Or
doing a retreat to Narragansett with Vicki, a Heart Stories retreat, which is going to be our third one, which is always so much fun. I had never been to Narragansett before, so I love it. And that's a really special time. I hadn't really spent a lot of time going away. I like to go away by myself for 3 or 4 days, but I hadn't really ever gone away with a bunch of girlfriends or something. So we all get up at sunrise and watch the sunrise and meditate and do yoga and do our heart stories, which is reflective writing and then sharing among each other, and recognizing the power of even shifting words, which is kind of cool. Like, I'm not good at surfing, yet.
Yes. No, that's great. I have heard that technique, and I think a lot of educators are using that now with their students.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really kind of caught on. Like, you're not good at that
Yet.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's just shifting it. Like, okay, that makes a huge difference,
perspective, right?
especially for kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what else do you do on the retreat?
We do, Vicki teaches a yoga class every morning. We do the meditation. We do a tarot evening, which is really fun. It's like a tarot party. And she cooks awesome food, and yeah, it's really fun. So we do that twice a year.
Okay. I'll have to check it out one of these
fun.
years.
And tarot parties are really fun. Tarot evenings, I've got one coming up. Usually I do them monthly. Certification classes, I do monthly Reiki certification classes. There's always something fun to do.
Well, don't you have like I mean, y'all, Beth is really good at social media, okay? I know this because I actually took one of her little classes, and you have another one. I mean, you have them a lot.
I have another one, a back-to-school mastermind class.
Yeah, so it's
for healthy living practitioners and entrepreneurs. Learning how to rock social media. It's so funny because I'm such an introvert, but social media is really like, I love doing it.
Why?
I like putting things out there. Like, one of the things that I'm known for is doing the morning meditation musings, which is like matching a quote with a nice, beautiful photo. And I just like, it's kind of like spreading seeds of love and joy around every day. So I just like, I like doing that. It's part of it's a way to connect with people other than, it's a way to connect with more people in a way that's meaningful. It feels like to me.
Yeah, no, I do get your morning meditation musings, and I mean, they're brilliant in my mind. How would a person get them if they wanted to?
Just get on my Facebook page. Be friends with me. Be friends with me.
So they can just go to your Facebook page, which is
Beth Leas.
Yeah, Beth Leas.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is a good time because I think we're running out of time, and what we want to do is put up your graphic, which will have your website addresses, and people can contact you that way if they want to ask you any questions, get on your mailing list, whatever. And there's also, I think your email address is right there, so they can email you directly.
Awesome.
And, you'll be happy to answer questions for
Absolutely.
them and friend them or whatever they want. And Beth she does live in Norwalk, Connecticut, but I'm sure she can travel and whatever.
And Zoom.
And Zoom and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, so thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, Katie.
And I can't wait for part 2. And I appreciate everybody watching tonight or on YouTube, whatever you want. And again, my name is Katie Augustyn, and you can reach me at the Transformation Center CT at gmail.com. So we're really happy that you all could join us tonight, and we hope to see you again in the very near future. Thanks for coming. Good night. Good night, Beth.
Good night.
I'm so